BNB stake is absolutely taking off. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying here to be a recommendation you do this. Whether you do BNB stake or not is entirely up to you. You'll notice I don't even have my affiliate links anywhere on BNB stake. Some of my original videos on it I did because I was kind of down on it because I hadn't researched it enough. And I figured if somebody wanted to do it anyway, I was fine with that and gave them massive warnings. But now, since I'm a little bit more positive on it, I don't want that to be misconstrued as me suggesting you do it. It's your choice. Go find someone else's affiliate link if you want to do it. I have dropped over 200 BNB of my own in it, but I wouldn't recommend those of you who are following some of the projects that we're working on together do this unless you're a gambler and you don't mind gambling. People are making a lot of money. There will be a lot of millionaires made, but suddenly it will end. And I don't think it's going to be because people do shenanigans. Nobody can pull the rug out from anybody. It's a smart contract. It's set up completely different than some of these other high risk, high yield programs in that regard. It runs the way it's supposed to run. And again, that's as far as we know, according to the audit. And I can't know that 100%. But what I wanted to bring your attention to, if you are already doing this, it's pretty interesting. If you look at this chart, it started in early March. Look at this last candle, because if you know about this, like you can get in front of something that's going to take place in the next 4 or 5 hours. That's pretty remarkable. And so you see this is starting. So it was kind of leveled out, and there were people in the clones, like there's FOMOStake, which is a clone of this that just recently launched. And they were saying, oh, BNBStake is more dangerous because it's been running a little while. And, people might withdraw a bunch and you take away the balance. For those of you who follow what BNBstake is and how it works, I'm not going to go over that right now. I just want to point something out that's pretty remarkable in the charts that tells you a lot about what's going to happen next. So at FOMOstake, people were saying that, and I was trying to let them know that when things level off, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to collapse. Like there's other indicators you can look at, and we were looking in the transactions on the blockchain, and we could see it was probably going to go up because of the way what transactions had been done and everything that was happening. But nonetheless, now it's pretty darn obvious. So it started its uptick, and you see yesterday this black bar is showing like it was a record intake. The black bar is the received into the smart contract, more BNB into the smart contract. You can see it was a record amount by a long shot. And the previous day was a record amount before that. And the previous day was a record amount before that, noticing a trend. And the previous day was it was up there with the top 4 record amounts for the month. But the last 3 days were record amounts. And yesterday, March 26th, was a remarkably larger amount than ever before. In addition, there was a significant drop in the amount that was taken out. And so you're seeing this trend also, where not only was it an increase in the historic increase for the contract in the amount that went in to the contract, but also that stayed in the contract. So it was also a record day of how much the contract increased in BNB. And you want the contract to increase, of course, because that's what gives security to it. Those that are adding themselves to the contract, they want to see that the amount of BNB in the contract increase. So it had a record amount of increase of BNB, as well as a record amount of people depositing. That was yesterday. And what I wanted to let people know is that today, March 27th, already in the last 18 hours since this was printed, since this candle was printed on the blockchain, on the BSC scan for this contract, just in the last 18 hours since this was printed, we already, listen carefully, we have already had another record historic increase that even tops this candle, but it hasn't been printed yet. Now, between now and the next 4 or 5 hours when that gets printed, something could change, but not likely. And so I just wanted to bring people's attention to this that are already in this thing. Don't take this as a recommendation to get in it if you're not already in it, because it's a high stakes game for sure. But those of you who are in it and who don't know how to read this stuff or don't think about this kind of stuff, I just wanted to let you know that when you see this kind of a trend, and already we know in the last 18 hours, what the candle that most likely to be printed here in about 4 or 5 hours is going to skyrocket over this one. And it's yet another record amount, another historic record amount. You want to get in front of that. So between now and the next 4 or 5 hours, This is March 27th. No guarantees. Things could change, but not likely. I'm not recommending you do anything. I'm not recommending anything other than just show you that from a technical analysis perspective, we have momentum here. And in the next 4 or 5 hours, when the next candle is printed, I'm just letting you know that it's going to be another historic amount, unless something changes from the time that I record this. Very unlikely when you have this kind of momentum, something to keep an eye out.